this video, we explain where the back elbow should be positioned at toe touch, and we show you what the best players in baseball are doing in terms of their back elbow at toe touch. All right, when a player comes to toe touch, it's important that he have his elbow more or less shoulder height. 5 or 10 degrees up or down from shoulder height is good. We caution against players that come to toe touch and their elbow drops way down here. Typically that results in 3 different things that are not positive. One is a lot of players that get their elbow here when they come to toe touch, their bat is way up, and in that case they're going to swing down through the plane of the pitch. Their bat path will be in a downward motion, which is not good because then you're hitting in a small zone. Then there's other players that when their elbow gets here, they have a tendency to dip underneath the ball and swing too far up. That's an uppercut. And then the other thing is having your elbow up helps you generate power. So players that have their elbow down here, even if they do everything perfect with their bat path, often struggle to generate power, which is very important. So again, when you come to toe touch, have your elbow more or less shoulder height. Okay, so what do the best players in baseball do with their back elbow at toe touch? Let's start with the players here. There's 10 players, 2023, that we analyzed. These were the top batting average leaders in the major leagues in 2023. 7 of those players had their elbow up about shoulder height within 10 degrees up or down from shoulder height. Here are 4 players. You got Freeman and Mookie with their elbows shoulder high, and then you have Diaz with his elbow slightly down within 10 degrees, and Ohtani with his elbow slightly up within 10 degrees. Then you have 2 players that have their elbow slightly more down or up from 10 degrees. You got Ronald Acuna Jr. on the left here with his elbow slightly down, about 15 degrees down, and then you have Bryce Harper with his elbow up about 15 degrees. That leaves us with 1 player that's an outlier that's more than 15 degrees off from being shoulder height, Luis Arias. Now, Luis is a great hitter. Obviously, he's got a great bat path. He led the major leagues in batting average in 2023. The one thing we'll say, though, about having that elbow down, Luis, for a guy who's more or less Mookie Betts' size, does not generate as much bat speed and therefore hits less home runs. As you can see here, Mookie has his elbow at shoulder height, and he hit 39 home runs for the year. Luis Arias has his elbow 45 degrees down, and he was not able to generate as much power as Mookie. So that's why we recommend typically that players have their elbows up about shoulder height. If you aspire to play college baseball, you need to be able to hit the long ball. And so that's the difference there between Luis and Mookie. So in general, you have 7 guys that have their elbow within 5-10 degrees of shoulder height. 2 guys, one that has the elbow a little higher than that, another one has a little bit lower than 10 degrees. And then you have 1 guy who has his elbow down 45 degrees. So for youth players, we find that their elbow is typically down too far, a large percentage of them at toe touch. We strongly recommend they correct that because that leads to limited power and leads to bad bat path issues. So make this a high priority in order for players to maximize their swing early on.